I've been wondering today, what is the stuff of joy? What does it mean to live joyfully? I want to live in a constant state of joy, which I think means dwelling in God. I kind of think that joy is the opposite of despair, of futility. Joy is the quiet peace that comes from knowing that you're in the right place. It means being full, being loved. I think sometimes joy comes from all the things that are unsaid, that are bubbling underneath the surface, all of the many graces by which we live. I'm thinking about this interview I heard with Andrew Peterson, who is a musician, by the way. He told the story of how he'd bought wedding rings from a pawn shop, and it took until like their 10th anniversary for them to buy more fancy, expensive rings. And they were turning the rings in, and his wife made an offhand comment about the previous rings not being gold. Now, the fact was they actually were gold, but for all these years, his wife had gone on happily without ever protesting or making an argument, just assuming that they didn't have enough money to buy real gold rings. That story was an example of how there are so many little things, little ways that people show us grace that we don't always notice. In the same way, every single day, there's so much substance in our lives to be grateful for. Sometimes joy means going on in the knowledge of that. I've heard it said that joy is the overflow of the love of God. We can be joyful when loving selflessly, even if it hurts us. True love comes from God, and if we're dwelling in the love of God, then there is joy in that place. So this has been a kind of abstract video, but let's talk about some things that are a little bit more practical, such as how should we punish Tuesday? Tuesday has 2 punishments to fulfill, so y'all need to give some suggestions. One thing I've noticed though is that Tuesday doesn't seem to have any problems with doing outlandish things. So any punishment we give him probably isn't going to discourage him from posting his videos late